Good afternoon. Welcome to the live interactive session 2 of the NPTEL course Transition Metal Organometallics in Catalysis and Biology. Like in previous live sessions, in today's session we will answer all the queries and questions or doubts that you may have at your end, and hence I request you to post your queries, questions, doubt in the chat box, and we will answer them as we receive them. So please post your queries, questions and doubt in the chat box. We have received one query from Sandeep Behera, Chandan Behera, sorry. So Chandan has asked that for this Philip process used for preparing high density polyethylene, the catalyst used is chromium trioxide on a SiO2 base support. So this is a heterogeneous polymerization catalysis. The catalyst is on the solid, anchored to the solid silicon dioxide support, and the question that he had asked is the question which was given in assignment 10, question number 8, which says that for this Philip process, in what phase is the polymerization occurring? An answer to this is the polymerization is indeed occurring in the liquid phase, even though the catalyst is anchored to the solid support, and that's the part of heterogeneous catalysis. So there is nothing wrong with the answer and the option which has been given for assignment 10. So just to let you know that the answer remains the same and correct, that the polymerization indeed is occurring in the liquid phase, whereas the catalyst, chromium trioxide catalyst that is used for polymerizing, is anchored to a solid support, and as a result the overall combination is a heterogeneous catalysis system. So hope this satisfies you, Sandeep. Please go ahead and send us your queries and questions, and we will answer them as I receive them. All other queries which have been sent in the query section has already been answered directly to the individual persons who have sent in the queries. This is a live interactive session, the second one for the NPTEL course Transition Metal Organometallics in Chemistry and Biology. As with all the live sessions, we answer the questions and queries that you have. Hence, I request you to send us your questions and queries, and we will answer them as I receive them. Oh, there is a question from Pranay, Pranay Mandal. He has asked that how many questions will be asked in the exam. Yes, Pranay, that's a very good question. We will be asking you objective, multiple choice type questions, and each questions will have 1 mark. So there will be 100 questions. So you have to answer 100 questions. The questions will be quite exhaustive, and I suggest that you read the content related to what has been covered in the course all through the lectures. About half of them will be single correct answer. So there will be 4 choices, of which one is the correct one, and so that means 50, around 50 or so will have a single correct answer, and the other half approximately would have more than one options correct. So there may be answers with 2 options correct, there may be answers with 3 options correct, but they would all have options. Half of them would have more than one options correct. So that will be total. In overall, you will have about 100 questions to answer. So I wish you all the best. Go through the content carefully, and best of luck with your exam. So much. Thank you. Prepare hard for your exam. I hope you would you enjoyed the course, and I'm confident that you will do very well in your exam. Good luck to all of you for the exam. Very negative. This is Paramananda Das, he has asked whether there would be any negative marking in the question. Uh, to my knowledge, there is no, there would not be any negative marking. Can you check with them? There is no negative marking. Ask Bhakti Mata. Partial marking also. Please ask your questions and doubts if you have any. This is the second live interactive session for the NPTEL course Transition Metal Organometallics in Chemistry and Biology. So in these live sessions we take up questions, comments and queries from the students who are currently taking the course, and we would be happy to answer or clear the doubts if you have any. Please send us your questions, comments in the chat box and we'll be happy to answer it.
Also not written on the paper.
Written?
No, nothing is written. Nothing
She has replied or what?
No, there is no information on the paper.
Welcome to this second live interactive session of the NPTEL course Transition Metal Organometallics in transition metal organometallics in chemistry and biology. So please send us your queries. We have another query from Shalin Sharma. Shalin joined late. Actually, I just answered the same question at the beginning of this live session, and that was from Behra. So what she says, this is about question 10, assignment 10, question number 8. She says that in which phase the Philip process occurs. Now, Shalin, Philip process for preparing high density polyethylene is a heterogeneous catalysis process. So that means that the catalyst is in the solid phase, and the catalysis, where the monomer reacting forming polymers, so the whole catalysis happens in the liquid phase. So the option is given is correct. So the catalyst is chromium trioxide, and that is put in silicon dioxide support. Catalyst is anchored in the solid phase. Welcome to this second live session of the NPTEL course Transition Metal Organometallics in Chemistry and Biology. In this session we take up questions that you may have for the while taking this course, and we will be happy to answer them. Request you to send us your queries or doubts in the chat box, and we will answer them as we get them. Okay, there is a nice question from Ishita Ghosh. She has asked about PDI. Explain about PDI and what will happen if you use other metals than titanium in Ziegler-Natta catalyst. Okay, Ishita, PDI is called polydispersity index. Now, what is the difference between a polymer and a monomer? Or like in small polymer means macromolecules or small molecules. Let's say if you synthesize uh, any small molecule, so in that case the molecular weight of the molecule will exactly be the same. It will be just unique to that molecule. So whatever would be the product, that will have a unique molecular weight. But the whole paradigm sort of changes when we go to polymers, macromolecules, polymers. So when you synthesize a polymer, you don't make polymer having exactly same chain length, so that it will have one molecular weight. What actually you end up getting, depending on the process and the efficiency of the catalyst, you get different polymers of different chain lengths, not exactly the same. As a result, what you get a bunch of chains of varying chain length, which sort of implies that bunch of polymers of varying molecular weight. They are not just one unique molecular weight. And you get a band of polymers of varying different molecular weight. Now, that the difference in the molecular weight leads to this concept of PDI, polydispersity index. Now, when you characterize a polymer by its molecular weight, you cannot have one unique molecular weight. Now you are looking at uh, different molecular weight, and these molecular weight of polymers are also very much dependent on the method you use for measuring the molecular weight. If you do viscosity, by viscosity you will get one molecular weight. If you use other method, you will get another molecular weight, not exactly the same. And the tradition is they have taken up is MW by Mn, weight average and number average molecular weight, and that gives rise to PDI. Now, in a very layman's term, any catalyst which gives selected or uniform chain polymer molecular weight, they will have PDI of something which is, the value should be very close to 1 unity. And if the catalyst is not too well behaved, it has lot of sites, then they will have a broad range of molecular weight and very broad PDI. That can be 2, 3, 5, 10, depends on how depends on the catalyst. Now usually this modulation of PDI, now when you do polymer then and you want to get a very well behaved distribution of polymers and you want the PDI to be near 1 unity, the modulation of from let's say a very broad PDI of 5 or 6 or 7, the modulation of PDI is usually done by moving on from heterogeneous catalyst to homogeneous single site catalysis. Now, in homogeneous single site catalysis, the active center are uniform, and as a result they give very narrow PDI, well behaved polymers. Whereas if you do the catalysis under, let's say, Ziegler-Natta titanium, TiCl3, this L2O3 support, then it's a heterogeneous system, classical Ziegler-Natta heterogeneous system, and you will get a broad PDI. Now if you remove titanium to other, it's still heterogeneous, no? So it will vary to some extent, but still the PDI will be very high. But for you, or if one wants to go to reach a narrow PDI of something which is almost equal to 1, it can never be totally 1, it will be almost equal to 1, very close to 1. So in that case one has to move from heterogeneous catalysis to homogeneous single site catalyst. So for that reason this metallocene titanium catalyst or zirconium catalyst became very important, because they could make very high molecular weight polyolefins having very narrow or low PDI. Hope this answers your question, Ishita. A very nice question. Please send us your comments and queries in this live session. So welcome to this live second interactive session for the NPTEL course Transition Metal Organometallics in Chemistry and Biology. Please send us your queries, questions, and we'll be happy to answer them. In these live sessions, we take up questions or doubts that you may have while creating the course, and we'll be happy to answer them. Welcome to this second live interactive session of this NPTEL course Transition Metal Organometallics in Catalysis and Biology. In these live sessions we take up questions and doubts that the students may have while creating the course. We request all of you to post your questions in the chat box, and we'll answer them as we get them. Okay, there is another question from Ishita. It says, what is making the catalysis, homogeneous catalysis single site? Okay, is it the same state? Now there are two concepts over here. One is homogeneous catalysis, and the second is single site homogeneous catalysis. Now heterogeneous and homogeneous means that the reactant and the catalyst in heterogeneous, they are in two different phases. One is solid, where the, like in Philip process, where the catalyst is there, and the monomer and the oligomer comes as a solvent, that is in a solution. So they interact, in which the polymerization takes place in a heterogeneous fashion. The catalyst is embedded on the solid and the monomer comes from the liquid phase. So that whole thing dissolves when one goes to homogeneous catalysis. Homogeneous catalysis means that the catalyst and the reactant and the product, all of it are in the same phase. All of it in the same phase. So all in solution. So on doing catalysis from heterogeneous to homogeneous, one moves in from two-phase catalysis to a single-phase catalysis. Okay, that's okay. Now what happens in heterogeneous catalyst, because the system, the catalytic system is heterogeneous, the active site, the metal site which carries out the catalysis, they are not uniform. They are not uniform in the sense that maybe the metal, chromium or active metal, depending on which phase of the solid it is stuck in, maybe it is coordinated in one site, in one position is coordinated by three sites and three sites remaining open. Maybe in the same solid support down below another chromium is there. There maybe it is embedded to the solid anchor by 4 and maybe 2 4 is open. So there the active sites are different, but all of the sites polymerize and make the polymer chain. But since the active species or active sites are different, their reactivity are also different in heterogeneous catalyst. So as a result, what happens is that they all polymerize. They are all, let's say, same chromium species but of different reactivity. What you end up getting is polymer chains of different length, because the reactivity of these active sites are different. So some will be very short, some will be very long, some will be extremely long, but all arise from the same chromium trioxide composition. So the catalyst composition is same, but because of the coordination environment, because of how it's bound to the solid support, the active species which really carries out the catalysis are different. They have different reactivity. They give rise to polymer of different chain length. As a result, they gave a very broad PDI molecular weight. That means polymers having a very broad range of polymer chains. Some very big, some, so you get a huge distribution. Whereas when you move from this heterogeneous to homogeneous system, that means your catalyst, monomer, polymer all are in the same phase. And if you choose a catalyst, let's say metallocene catalyst and all, so there the catalyst, this active species are all of same type, exactly same type. It will be CP. So there will be two cyclopentadienyl, metal and then cation. So all the active species will be exactly of the same type, of same composition. So what does that mean? That they have exactly same reactivity. And what does that mean? Translates into that if they have exactly same reactivity, they would produce polymers of exactly similar length molecular weight, almost similar length molecular weight. So you get a very uniform low PDI distribution of the polymer molecular weight that you get when you go to single site homogeneous catalysis. Okay, so that's why is the advantage, that the moving from heterogeneous to homogeneous, the advantage that you get is the uniformity of the active site. In heterogeneous system, the active site, catalytic active sites are non-uniform in nature, so non-uniform in reactivity. As a result, they give polymers of different chain lengths. Whereas if you go to a single site, that's why it says single site. single site means the active species are of exactly one type in composition. So their reactivity is exactly the same. And you get a polymer molecular weight of almost similar chain length. So that is why they call single site homogeneous catalysis. Now, whether you do heterogeneous or whether you do homogeneous, no. So let's say this reaction happens, polymerization happens, the monomer builds up like a chain, and then the chain becomes longer, longer, longer. So at some point, the polyolefin chain stuck to the metal, stuck to the active catalyst, goes beyond the domain of solubility, being soluble in the reaction mixture, to becoming insoluble. So if the polymer becomes very long, then even in the homogeneous catalysis you will get a white precipitate of polyolefin, because now the chain length has become so long, some in millions of Dalton, millions of insertion, that they no longer are soluble in that solvent. So when if you ever see this polyolefin reaction visually, if one gets to see it, then what you would see is that they are adding ethylene, which is a colorless gas, and if done in a glass reactor, so you will see a solution being stirred, on which some gas will be added, colorless gas. So you wouldn't see nothing, you will see a colorless solution being stirred, and all of a sudden, as the ethylene monomer, which is a gas, gets consumed, and these polymers are formed using the single site homogeneous catalysis, you will see that something is getting stirred, and as it gets stirred, it becomes turbid, it becomes more turbid to the extent that it's full of white powder. It will be so much of white powder in the reactor that even the stirrer would stop stirring. So even for single site homogeneous catalysis, as the polymerization proceeds, at some point it will go break the homogeneous catalysis, that notion of solubility. So at some point the polymer will definitely become insoluble, and overall system will become heterogeneous. But by that time, when it reaches that, the matured molecular weight of the polymer chain length has already been reached. So that would be like, if you look at the molecular weight, that will be in like 30,000, 50,000 Dalton. So huge. 30,000, 50,000, it can be 1 million also. And those stuff will not be soluble in the solvent in which you carry the thing. So I hope this answers your question. Please, that was a good question. Both of your questions are very good, Ishita. Please send us your comments and questions. I'll be happy to answer them as I receive. Welcome to this second live interactive session of this NPTEL course, Transition Metal Organometallics and Catalysis in Biology. We are in these live interactive sessions where we are taking up questions from the students who are creating the course, and we'll be happy to answer them. Please send us your questions in the chat box. Maybe last what time? Hmm?
1 hour.
Full one.
Yes.
Please send us your comments and queries if you have any with regard to this course, Transition Metal Organometallics and Catalysis in Biology. So there is, so well, if there is no further question, so let me thank you for your time and also for joining this live interactive session. I wish you all the best for the upcoming exam, and I am confident that all of you will do very well. Please prepare the material which is covered exclusively in this lecture, and all the related references or the books which have been referred to or the journal papers. The questions will be all objective type, multiple choice questions. About half of them will be of the ones which will have single answer correct, and the other half will have more than one options correct, and each of them will be of 1 mark, and there will be 100 questions in all. And I am sure that all of you, if you read the content carefully, you will be able to answer all of them with confidence. And in the meantime, if you have any queries and all, you can always send us in the query forum, which the TAs will take it up and we will address it right away. So with that, I conclude today's session. I once again thank you for your time and for joining this live interactive session. I certainly sincerely hope that you are enjoying the course that you have registered, credited, and with that I conclude today's session. Thank you, stay safe and happy masking. Bye.